It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
How do we start this week?
With a bang.
Bang?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not good at starting
Let's
these.
light the town up.
No, wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Very wrong.
Sorry.
How are you today?
I'm trying to stay positive. There's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of, people that are really struggling right now. And I just, at least for me and on my platforms and even on No Filter right now, I'm just trying to make it a hopefully positive space that people can kind of come to. Obviously I have a lot of opinions and I run my mouth a lot, but I'm also trying to at least bring some levity and some light to what's going on right now, because it's heavy.
It feels so weird right now.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone understands what it's like living here in this city, and then we're all just like, we're gonna go back to whatever, but we can't, and then we're reminded of it, and then you're on the Watch Duty app, you're on whatever news alert looking for what's next. But we've been talking so much last week, but the first episode we recorded this, the fires were starting.
Yeah.
And it's obviously the elephant in the room. It's not gonna go away, the effects of it. It's just a weird fucking time right now.
Yeah.
And it's it just even feels weird to be in a studio and we're very fortunate to be where we are at right now. But to hear a helicopter above us right now, it's oh, what's happening? What's going on? For those who might have missed it, the city has just been in shambles.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's a good segue to start things off. I was 2 blocks from an exact evacuation zone. I think that's the hardest thing to sit and just kind of reflect on, is things have cleared and bitches start crying on camera. It just doesn't hit you till it's after and you're over that hill. But we're the effects of these and the people who checked on you, those are things that are going to be around. Some for a while, some not as much. The bitches and hoes who checked on you, kudos to you. But it's scary. I'm still living out of a bag.
Yeah.
I'm still having my bag in my car, my suitcase in my closet, being are you ready to go? Because if you're not, then what happens? But I saw a stat that said every person in Los Angeles knows someone who's lost a home right now.
Yeah.
And it's damn, this is a huge city. The comparisons, the loss, it just feels right now, we've talked about this. We met before this podcast recording. You've been covering every day, this stuff you've been covering, a lot of information. We don't get to cover stuff every day. Yeah. And every time we come in studio, it's different. It's okay, what's on the docket? What's our little silly escape? And we sat before this podcast and we said, what's our intent, going into it? You're I'm 5 minutes from your house. I can come now. I'm that's probably a good idea. We should probably sit and have a coffee. Our intent with this is obviously to talk about what's going on, but also to be that escape for people to tune out, to have that little moment. And I think for me right now, entertainment has been that.
Yeah.
Entertainment is not that at the same time right now, because as we're about to talk about, there's things in our city that are not going to be around for a while or may not come back. I've said enough. You should say something with your shorts and tank top on today. You took the leather jacket off.
Because, I just thought it was weird to wear the leather. Well, I guess I've worn it on camera before. No, I mean, I agree with you. And I think it is very heavy. A lot of people have lost their homes. I mean, some of my family is still not even home. I grew up in LA. So everybody that I know that is in my inner circle has been affected by this. I have family members that are still displaced. They can't go home. They don't have power. Smoke has penetrated their homes. I have friends that have lost their childhood family homes that, it's been challenging. I have family all over LA. I'm talking to my dad who's in the valley and, there's smoke everywhere. As I've shared, before, my dad has cancer. So there's obviously, concerns for him. My mother was also very close to the Eaton fire. She's not in the valley, but she's in the opposite side of town. So it has definitely been a very stressful, not even full 2 weeks. It's been what, not
It's
even
just like day
barely
6,
even
day
a week and a
7.
half. Yeah.
Donna Bowling's been counting the days and the
I
hours.
know,
Like
every day Donna's giving us an
and I'm
update on
like, damn
Instagram.
it,
She's
Donna.
like, day 7, 133. Here's the update. But what I will say though, as somebody that is from LA, like this is my town, this is my hometown, and to watch it burn and to watch, all the devastation that we're seeing happen before us, what I love is that we're also seeing our neighbors come together, and the
Yeah.
community in LA is so powerful. I mean, so much so we've been, collecting donations, and people have been sending me Venmos so that we can buy supplies and take them to local shelters. And my mom at her coffee shop, meanwhile, she's, right next to the Eaton Fire, and she's still coming to Echo Park and going to her coffee shop and, trying to create that space for people to come to that, can try to escape all the heaviness that's going on in LA right now. And she's collecting donations. She's actually, I have to head to see her after this because we're putting together packages for the fire department. And it's just so incredible to see the overwhelming support from people all over LA. And just, I mean, even the community that I've built with No Filter, to see how many people have stepped in and have sent donations. And, we've been raising money for the LA Fire Department and trying to get supplies to people on the ground and just doing whatever we can and just seeing people mobilized. I mean, seeing these shelters be overwhelmed with donations right now. They're like, stop
Yeah.
bringing us water, stop bringing us clothes. Like, we're so full. Even we have so much dog food at my mom's coffee shop right now because she's like, there's no more dog food to take to any of these places. Like the Pasadena Humane Society is like fully, maxed out, which is incredible.
It's amazing.
I think, I know there's a lot of criticism of our leadership right now and how people feel they may or may not have failed us. But I think if anything, we've seen that as a community, we can come together, and, LA's always just had such
We will
a
rebuild.
strong backbone and so much grit to everyone that comes here. LA's not an easy city to come and build a life in. Most people don't stay here beyond, 4 years. Most people are in and out within a year, 2 years. So there is a lot of grit in this town. And I think the community will continue to build stronger from all of this, and we'll just have to continue to lean on each other and support each other through it.
Yeah. I mean, you are downtown, so Eaton was
Yeah.
your biggest fire near you. I was in
Eaton.
Santa Monica.
Yeah. Well, I was right in the center. So I had Eaton, and then there was the Hollywood Hills, but I mean, those weren't big, but I'm not close to the Palisades fire. You're the one that's right in the...
Literally,
Yeah.
the first night, we joked for like a hot second here in the studio. We're like, "Oh, it's burning." I remember going home, and like it just picked up so much. And I drove a mile from my house to the edge, the evacuation like warning area,
Yeah.
and you could just see flames. And it's just like,
Crazy.
it's crazy. I got pulled over during all of this, like while I was driving around, because of the unfortunate things of looting that was happening. Someone pulled me over and they're like, "Why are you driving around? You're driving a little sus." And I'm like, you want to put little brown boy me with my little glasses,
Yeah.
and you pull me over for my outdated registration, but you're having me pull down all my windows. Any day was like,
Yeah.
like I want like a mental break. And so I got zooted at home, and you called me and you're like, "You have not responded to anything." And I was like, because I had to get a break. I was
Yeah.
2 blocks away from not coming back to my home, and like then you're like, okay, it's 2 blocks. Like, am I waiting for my time? You're like, no, I should probably go, but they haven't told me to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, this episode today, we have a lot of stories that are about entertainment and what's happening now, and what we will obviously know what's going to happen in the future, and some stories that touch entertainment about people who have been affected and how they're helping, and like, have your opinion or not, everyone trying to do something in some way. If you like it, subscribe.
Yeah.
This is hopefully your good escape and give you faith with what is going on.
Yeah, I will say this just to close that off, because I've seen a lot of, I mean, there is some criticism that people are giving to like a lot of influencers who are out there collecting donations or, going and volunteering and posting selfies of themselves volunteering. And I think everybody's just trying to do their best right now. And I think rather than criticizing, 'cause even I had that moment where I
Mm-hmm.
saw Jamie Lee Curtis on Jimmy Kimmel, and she's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. The fires are picking up and my house is burning down. And I was like, okay, Jamie Lee Curtis is complaining from the comfort of the Jimmy Kimmel studio. And then I was like, listen, and then she ended up donating $1 million, and
Mm-hmm.
she's spoken out and using her press tour to kind of bring awareness to everything. And I think, regardless of how much or how little anybody is giving or doing right now, I think every little bit is powerful.
Yeah. Everyone just feels like whatever you do right now is not enough. And like our first hot in the headline, random little things that like you don't think are doing things. People are streaming Heidi Montag's music.
Yeah.
People are streaming Heidi Montag's music. Just like let that
From
sit in for
15 years ago.
15-year anniversary, and it's gotten enough streams to push her to number one.
Well,
Can you just sit and
actually,
like think about that? Like how many?
no, it goes deeper than that because these aren't just streams.
It's like
So,
units
no, no,
sold.
no.
It's
He made people go onto iTunes, which I didn't realize people
Spencer
still
Pratt.
use iTunes, not Apple Music.
iTunes.
Where you're purchasing the music. And he went and had people purchase Heidi's album and her new singles, and that's what took her album to number one and took her single, I think it's I'll Do It, to number one in the pop charts.
And like that little difference of like whatever price it is,
Yeah.
$16.99 on iTunes, whatever it may be, that did something, and enough people did it where it's just
Yeah.
like holy fuck, like.
Yeah.
And then Spencer's out here like, see, everyone gets to have their moment. Like I finally get to say like, I believe he's believed in her for like so long.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, even when The Hills was on, I used to love watching The Hills live.
Live.
Even, yeah, because we didn't have DVR. We didn't have the streaming that we have available now, where you can watch on Peacock the next day. So I remember, and I even been in like the forums on MTV and
Oh
whatnot.
girl, you were in it.
I was so in it. I loved it. But I remember then being like always Team Spidey, and everybody hated Spencer and Heidi. And I think that's part of the reason her music didn't really land, is because people hated them so much that they didn't want them to be successful. And so her album, essentially kind of flopped, regardless of the media attention that they were getting. The music didn't really land, because at that point it wasn't about streams, it was about actual physical copies of the CD selling.
15 years ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
And
so,
still pushing to iTunes even 15 years later.
yeah, I mean, who'd have thought iTunes would even still be what it is
I thought
now?
they shut that down.
I thought so too.
Anyway.
But then I looked on the app and I was like, oh, iTunes, there's an iTunes app that's still around. And people are streaming it on Spotify. People are streaming it on Apple Music. So it's like really popping off right now. And it's been nice to see like Brody Jenner and Kristen Cavallari and all these people, except Lauren Conrad, that are out here supporting them. But what I love is he was on TMZ earlier this week. He was on TMZ and they were just like, wow, Spencer, that was so smart of you to like essentially fundraise for your family by pushing her music. And he just got choked up and started getting teary-eyed, and he's like, this is all I have.
They've
like,
lost everything.
He's like, he's like, our house is gone, everything in it. My childhood house is gone and everything in it. He's like, all my childhood memories are gone. My childhood bedroom is gone. My home with my wife and the bedrooms that we had for our children, it's all gone. He's like, all I have are 2 t-shirts that ironically are Heidi Montag merch shirts that I took when I left the house, not expecting for us to never come home again. And he's like, all I have is her music, because we put all of our money into making her music successful, because I believed in my wife all this time and nobody else saw it. And here we are, where people have finally acknowledged her for, her art and her artistry. And, and then Harvey's like, it's so commendable because you, as the provider for your family, is, trying to find solutions to provide for them. And he just got really emotional, because I think even though he's going on TikTok a lot and he's like coming at this very lightheartedly, he is still the provider for his family, and he, this is his means of putting food on the table for his kids.
What else can you do right now? And like, I saw a bunch of posts that were like, hot take, Spencer Pratt, host SNL, musical guest, Heidi Montag.
Yeah.
And I was like, honestly, would watch. Like,
yeah.
And he's also been actively speaking on a lot of things, which gets into our segment we're doing this podcast about just the LA fire news in general and like the future of entertainment right now.
Yeah.
He has been speaking and like backing Mandy Moore.
Yeah, because she got a lot of shit for fundraising for her brother-in-law.
Everyone's just trying to do damn something right now, and it's just like it's like showing gestures and hope, and
Yeah.
like, do you think everyone can necessarily break it down like tax means donating to your family? What taxes like that get driven from or like derived from versus like crowdfunding, and also
Yeah.
like everyone's just trying to do good gestures and good hope. But I remember I saw a post that was about Mandy Moore, and people were giving so much like hate on it, and then out of the blue comes Spencer, and he's like,
Yeah.
shit on her all you want, but like, she did you see this clip?
Yeah.
She put me up. Like,
Yeah.
you tell it.
Yeah, he was just like, "Listen, don't come for Mandy Moore because I will come for you." He's like, that lady is so nice. She put us up one time in a hotel and she took care of us. And like, she's somebody that's so selfless because she's under, I keep wanting to say under heat, under fire, but like, obviously, those are not the terms to use right now. She's facing criticism, scrutiny. Facing scrutiny for sharing a GoFundMe link for her brother-in-law because people were dragging her saying that like, you're rich, why aren't you going and donating to provide for them herself? And she had to come out and she said, first of all, F off, number one. And number two, she's like, I lost everything too. I lost my home too. Yes, I may have means, but also I'm struggling too. And if there's I'm not asking you to go fund for me. I'm asking you to go fund for somebody that I care about. I would love to take care of him, but I'm also taking care of myself as well.
Do you all also know the power of GoFundMe?
Yeah.
Because the power of one person is different than the power of thousands upon millions of people.
Yeah.
I watched a video the other day of this guy named SB Mowing. He raised nearly $1 million for a woman just by simply mowing her lawn. And the fact that you can mobilize so many different people, it's like, sure, Mandy Moore can donate, but like, is that impact going to give as much than more people giving small donation amounts when she's also still trying to rebuild and rehome? And she's literally living right now with Hillary Duff.
Yeah. Which, wild.
Who would have figured?
Right? She was on Dawson's Creek? Mandy Moore?
Sure.
What was she on?
Oh, God.
It's just funny because you see Lizzie McGuire and then you see, what was...
Mandy Moore has been in a few movies.
Wasn't she on a sitcom, like a drama? Was she?
I'm going to let you sit with that. But she has been staying with Matthew Coma and Lizzie McGuire. So Moore said in an update...
She wasn't in a show, but the show was This Is Us, but I thought she was in like an
She was in This Is Us.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought she was like in like the OC or like one of those, or Dawson's Creek or something.
But correct. Go with whatever you're going with. But you know, it's difficult. Everyone's trying to figure out how to get to the next step. Like, what do we do now? There's just you're reminded every day of like what's going on outside. Zack obviously too, we did not lose our homes. But so like for us living and trying to even get those little escapes, people don't have those. And so like the fact that other people are bringing in other families to their homes and like Mandy Moore's just like, literally let me have a minute. Yeah. I'm living in someone else's house.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like that even Christina Applegate came out on her podcast this week and she was like, listen, because a lot of people, you know, as much as people want to be critical of celebrities, a lot of people that aren't in LA are looking at this and they're being like, they're rich, they're famous. All of the people that are, you know, suffering right now, they can afford to build back. And I don't think people realize like, there are so many people that that are working class that don't have the luxury of just being like, oops, my house burned down. Let me just pay to build a new one. Let me just go buy a new house somewhere else. Like people, like this is impacting people. You know, the fact that Christina Applegate came out and she's just like, listen, like everybody needs to calm down. Like the fact that people are cheering for LA burning down is just it's wild, and I think we need to not focus on that and not focus on the fact that we think that these people have the means to rebuild, because there are a lot of people that don't, and we can look at the shelters right now, and these people at the shelters need water and blankets and underwear and toothbrushes, like simple things that we have that they don't have anymore.
I've seen reports of people donating used underwear. It's like, gross. We don't need that. Like, don't. I get what you're trying to do, but like, don't do that. Like, no one wants that.
No.
I want to talk about for a minute too the people who have been like doing something
Yeah.
that haven't gotten as much like attention. So like Jay Leno brought his own fire truck to feed and serve ribs to like first responders.
Yeah.
There have been clips of like people going to In-N-Out who are working on the fire lines, getting free food. And like you look at other people who are in, let's call them celebrity status or like
Yeah.
have the means to do something. We've seen donations.
Yeah.
Beyonce's donated 2.5 million. Like you said,
Jamie
Jamie
Lee
Lee Curtis
Curtis,
donated $1
1
million.
mil.
Jennifer Garner, even with her losing a friend, she's
Yeah.
like, I am out here trying to just like
Yeah.
make sure that that really doesn't happen again. She got very emotional. Like Prince Harry and Meghan also have been like trying to advocate. We'll get to that in a minute more. I know your little snicker laugh. But Halle Berry also like
Yeah.
donated her closet. A lot of celebs like donating clothes where they can. And so
I mean, or
it's
even just not the monetary donations, but like look at what Elon Musk did with Starlink and making that, available for our reporters who don't have service out in the fires, but they're, right there on the ground. And because of Starlink, they're able to broadcast live from the Palisades or wherever these fires are at. Or, what did he bring in? Cyber trucks to make sure that people that were impacted that don't have service, that they have T-Mobile, then they get
power their
free
homes.
service
Yeah.
to power their homes or to contact people, to use their cell phones. I know it was only limited to T-Mobile, but like that in and of itself, if we're able to get to a place without Wi-Fi or without, cell service where we can, have other means to communicate, I think that that's also a really big impact, because if you don't have service, but you need to contact your family to say, hey, we're safe, or hey, can you come help us out? That's also
Yeah.
a big support for people right now.
The brands, some have fumbled, some have done well.
I know Skims was under fire, or Skims was facing criticism. I need to stop saying that.
Skims was running an ad throughout all this, and people saw that throughout the time.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I saw it from both sides of like Skims is not an LA brand. It's a national, I mean, at this point, a global brand that, if they run an ad campaign, that's no different from any other
Right.
person that's advertising right now. It just happened to be on Instagram and happens to be linked to Kim Kardashian, but she's not overseeing the daily marketing plans. That if there was an ad that was running for Skims on their Skims corporate account,
Ugh. There is a life outside of Los Angeles, and we understand that things
yeah,
need to move on. Things do at some point. We are in our own bubble,
yeah,
but like it is weird. Like we said when we met this morning, like okay, there's a whole other life outside of this who are consuming things and posting
Yeah.
things. Some things have landed, some not. But like brands who are not even in this area are helping. Like Paige Denim, for every purchase, you get 50% off and you get 2 free pairs of clothing or 2 free jeans or something of the sort. You have like Equinox somehow was like, let me give you and anyone your friends are affected by, like, if you want to go to the gym, get your mind off things, take it. Like,
Yeah, or Planet Fitness, they opened up their doors. So if people needed to come and take showers or kind of, refresh, they allowed them to use their facilities as well.
people are going to remember that. People are going to remember all that shit and the shit that people pulled during this. I know that Tarte has gotten a little bit of heat. We talked about too, like
Yeah.
brands doing it wrong. Like allegedly Tarte had a influencer trip and took some LA and New York girls, and
Yeah.
one of the dinners was allegedly called Tarte on Fire when
Yeah.
they arrived, which you and I can say the timing's a little bad, but
None of us.
everyone's doing the best they can right now. If you need to get away, do your thing. It's nice you can. If you have a brand trip, whatever, people have got to work, people have got to pay bills. Those sponsored posts that you saw are not just from yesterday.
Yeah.
People have got to figure it out. But the world will rebuild. We will
Yeah.
carry on at some point. And at the end of the day, people will remember what Jamie Lee Curtis did.
Yeah.
I think she started it in a way.
Probably. But I do want to say this, because I've seen a lot of chatter online as well.
Chatter.
That I think it's important to acknowledge is there's a lot of attention and support for LA right now. And I think that that's incredible. And I think that that's really powerful. But there are a lot of families that were also impacted in, what was it, Asheville, and
Mm-hmm.
in Hawaii, in Maui as well, that I think those families unfortunately are still feeling the effects of those fires, and they didn't have the attention or the celebrity influence or the massive donations that are coming into Los Angeles. And unfortunately, that's just kind of where things are at, because we have so many celebrities, and because LA is such a powerful town,
It's a dense city. It's huge.
we have so much attention on LA. And I do think we also need to bring attention back to those communities, because I personally didn't realize the devastating effects until I saw it happen in my own city. And I think it is unfortunate, because a lot of those people do feel forgotten right now. And I think it's important that, we also bring attention back to them. And if there are additional resources or people that want to support LA, please be mindful of those families as well that are still struggling and having a hard time building back.
Exactly that. And our last bit of this fire news and what is entertainment right now is coming back to what Gene Smart said. And Gene Smart basically is like, whether this can happen or not, to find some way to take away these award shows and hopefully encourage donations, there's a teetering scale to it.
Yeah.
Like what is actually possible? There are people who need that job to also still work. Do actually people want to see anyone else getting awards this time? And, the events, the schedule of things right now, interviews are not happening. The fact we're doing this podcast right now is a rarity. There are no carpets. There are no premieres. There is no Critics' Choice Awards. There's no nominations. It is all on pause.
Yeah.
And it's like, that makes sense. When it's going to come back, we'll figure it out. But everyone's trying to figure out how to fundraise. Wish that could have happened for a lot of these other places. The density of LA is so different than other cities, but like to see at least everyone trying to say like, look at where this city has been and will be in the next month. Do we need all of this? Do we actually need all this?
No. Well, I mean, it's crazy, because then it really begs the question, like, I mean, these award shows are all going to continue. Are they going to keep them in LA? Are they going to move them to another city? Is that going to continue to hurt and impact the California economy if we're moving Hollywood outside of LA, because they're going to continue on with these shows? I don't know, but I mean, I think Jean Smart was smart to say.
Smart.
She was smart to say, maybe we don't broadcast this award show. You can still have the award show if you want, but let's not broadcast it, and let's, have those advertisers pledge some of their advertisement money towards supporting the victims of the fires, which I think,
if able,
yeah,
it's kind of, I get it. Look, like deposits have been made, things have happened, businesses make money, event venue production companies make money. Like, end of the day, everyone's gonna hurt. And so like to look at this at the end, like the economy of California and most prominently Los Angeles is going to be very changed, and we're going to see that impact like months from now, whatever decisions are made. Like I don't know how those are going to get deciphered, what happens, what is on the chopping block and what's not, but end of the day, some money's not going to go to somebody.
Yeah.
It's sad. But in the time that we've had to sit, take our mental breaks, I have gotten some time to watch some TV in my zooted time. I've binged a couple things. I've revisited things to have my 2 hours of guilt. I wish I could have gone and volunteered. I wish I could have gone and done something. But like for me, being so close to the fire, I was like, let me just stay home. If I'm going out, it's for like an hour or two and I'm coming back immediately.
Yeah.
I watched Traders.
It's good. I mean, listen, if we can't binge alcohol because of this damn 75
We are
hard
also-
challenge, then at least let's binge some good TV.
I don't know why I decided to start out this year and say, let me do 75 hard. And then life said, let me throw you a few things like Los Angeles fires.
I know.
Ordinary
texted the
life
group
stuff,
thread. I was
starting
like,
a new job.
Could we have chosen a different time to do 75 hard other than when Los Angeles decides to go on fire?
Can you just imagine me trying to sit there and just do a workout and being like, I can't, I feel guilty. But I did not feel as much guilt having at least a minute to just say like, I need at least like an hour or two to just mentally take a break or else I will not do well.
Yeah.
And I watched Traders and I enjoyed it. Misguided is here to stay.
Okay, so are we giving spoilers so we can let people know that spoilers are ahead?
If you want to watch, turn this off now.
Or just fast forward. Don't
Yeah.
turn it off, but just like do the little 30, 30, 30.
We'll take a little exhale. Ready? Inhale.
Okay, spoiler time. What was your thoughts? First 3 episodes, 4 eliminations.
I think this casting for this show, season 3 of Traitors, has to be the best, I think, yet. And I am sad at some people who have already left.
Yeah.
Your favorite,
Dorinda.
she's gone.
That-
I wish she could have stayed.
Listen, she shot herself in the foot. You always like the number one strategy is to never go into the house.
Never jump off the
being
boat.
The first like vocal, like, you know,
Everyone was vocal, I feel like. Even Zac Efron's brother was a little vocal.
I know, but she just like she made herself a target too fast. And I think I don't like the traitors. Except for Boston Rob, who comes in later. And I think he's good. But even when he walked in the room and he saw who the 3 traitors were, he was like, really? Bob the Drag Queen is a good traitor.
Bob the Drag Queen's a great traitor.
The other 2, I'm like, who are these losers? Like, who let them be traitors? Because, like, you should put Dolores Catania in there. Like, somebody that could really, like, strategize and be a game player. Because these 2 wackadoodles are just, like, not good at the game at all. And they don't know what they're doing. And they eliminate Dorinda day 1. And I'm like, that was so stupid. Because Dorinda was the perfect shield for the traitors that everybody would have been gunning for Dorinda for at least the next 2
rounds.
elimination cycles, that like it would have given some smoke off of them.
Well, they're going off of also what happened in previous seasons where you have the housewives and you have someone from every franchise has a traitor. So like gunning after one of those, you eliminate, go through each one. You're probably going to stay afloat, but I think Bob was doing really well. I think Bob the Drag Queen is an amazing traitor. I think that Bob, the acting,
he's not a good traitor because he's starting to fumble the ball a little bit, but he's a good character on the show.
Acting, precision, pivoting, amazing.
Yeah.
Sitting on the raft and discussing about potentially being up for elimination and coming into the traitors' corners and just being gooped and gagged, both of them. Like
I think Bob's going to be the breakout star of this season for sure.
Bob
get your
flowers.
And Dylan Efron.
Bob and Dylan Efron, get your flowers, girls. Get your flowers. Go get your girls.
Efron, surprisingly, is like, I thought he was going to be boring, and he's really not. He's like really giving it to us. He's easy on the eyes. He's got comebacks. He's like pointing the finger. He's strategizing. He's smart. And he's already on to Bob the Drag Queen. But so first elimination was Dorinda, killed off by the traitors. Second elimination was who did they vote out? The bald guy. No, he was the second eliminated. Who was the first person that was voted out?
Dorinda.
No, Dorinda was killed by the traitors. And then there was the round table.
Aya. No, she was third.
She was killed by the traitors.
Mm.
It was the bald guy from, what was it, Survivor? But he was the second elimination. And the other one, it was another guy too.
It was the guy with the, he was the smart guy from, I hate when you have
Was he a Bachelorette guy?
No.
Yeah, wasn't it a Bachelorette
Wells.
guy? Wells Adams,
Wells.
yeah. Bachelor, from the Bachelor.
I was like, when we have
flowers
flowers in this live little taping.
Chanel Ayan, Dorinda Medley, Wells Adams, and then the bald guy.
I loved
Wells.
my housewife of Dubai. She's like, you don't like me? It's fine. Then I won't like you either. Like, she just gives me like, I also love me.
I think Bob the Drag Queen is intentionally eliminating housewives so that there isn't competition in the house, personality competition in the house. He wants to be the breakout star. Bob, you can tell, is very smart, and I think Bob the Drag Queen is trying to pick off the biggest personalities in the house so that they don't steal his shine.
Interesting theory. I will say this. I saw this meme that was like Dylan Efron. If you close your eyes while you're watching The Traitor and you listen to Dylan Efron, he sounds just like Zac Efron in the delivery, in the tone, Las Escuelas. I did it and I was like, you know what? I see it. I mean, I hear it. I don't see it. But like next time you watch it, give it a
I didn't think of that.
Okay.
But I mean, I just don't want to close my eyes when he's on my screen. He's definitely the hotter Efron brother.
Okay. I love his little cutaway when they have little kettlebells and he's like, I'm just in my little mansion and doing my little kettlebell workout.
Good for him.
I think that overall, Bob is doing a great job just pivoting. I don't know what Bob is going to get into on The Traitors, but I think Bob is able to really, because of the drag queen personality and act, I think someone will eventually come after Bob.
Dylan's already targeting him. Bob's not going to make it to the end. I'll tell you that right now. And you know who's really pissing me off?
Tom Sandoval.
No.
The sweaty armpits of Tom Sandoval.
Chriselle. She
Oh.
looks like such a fucking loser because she's over here. Like, she's literally the only one at the table that's like trying to piggyback off of Scandival and like everybody hate Tom because she's like, you lie and you cheat and you manipulate, and I'm friends with your ex, and we know you're probably a traitor because you're capable of all those things. And it's like,
I
it's a
think that narrative
game.
is a rest.
It's done. And she comes in. I think she came in thinking, I'm going to play this. Let's all bag on Tom Sandoval because the audience is going to love that. And I think the audience is just so far over and past Scandival. And nobody cares about Ariana on the Traitors.
Here's the thing. I think that audiences may be over Scandival, but you know who's not are the editors of Traitors, because they are doing him dirty with those armpit shots, with the sweat shots. They
I
could
didn't
have
even
omitted
notice
that.
that.
They could have omitted that. I saw it and I was like, ooh, editors, you kept that in and you are doing the man dirty because you are keeping that in and you could have scrubbed it out. How many other shots are in there? Don't know like that.
I didn't even catch that.
No, it was the mannerisms, the looks. He's just like confused, and everyone's like, pan away to him. He's very easy.
I thought he did
bait.
well on the first 3 episodes. I didn't think he had much of a breakout. But I mean, I was expecting them to give him more of an evil villain, like expecting them to give him a worse edit. But so far, it only looks like Chriselle's the only one that's like trying to lean into the scandal of it all, and I just don't think it's gonna pan out well for her if she continues this. I think the audience is so over Scandival and like wanting to move on from all of that like the audience will likely end up turning on her for continuing to drag that on. But we'll see.
True tea.
She looks great, and I feel like she could have like if she brought that like strength that she brings to the table against Tom into the actual game rather than just hating on Tom, I think she could have been a really strong contender. But I think she's going to end up shooting herself in the foot.
More episodes to come. Other news, I had a chance to watch Younger, finally.
Oh, how was that?
Travis
Hilary
put
Duff.
me on it, my
Oh.
boyfriend, yeah. And he's like, you'd like this. And I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, Hilary Duff. Don't love the main character. So in my Watch or Skip review, I would say if you're looking for something to get you through 20-minute episodes, watch Younger, because you really just stay for Hilary Duff, and then you stay for Nico Tortorella, unproblematic,
Okay, I forgot about
unfazed.
him.
So like I've been having a good time. I'm on like episode 7, and I'm like, Hilary Duff, you always stay on top between the Carrie Underwood news, the housing of Mandy Moore. You're just existing, and you're just still in my life somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Give Younger a try.
if you don't, then
I
let
just
me know.
recently rewatched Pretty Little Liars.
How did that go out?
That was fun. It was just the last season, but that was fun to rewatch. I forgot how I didn't realize how like corny and cheesy and soap
yeah.
opera-y it is.
My first boyfriend loved Pretty Little Liars and Lucy Hale.
Pretty Little Liars, and then another like really bad one that I've been enjoying on TikTok before it gets banned. RIP is. Did you ever watch Secret Life of an American Teen?
No, you probably did though.
Was Secret Life of American Teenage? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like everybody was hooked on that show, and now rewatching like clips from it, it was so bad and so great. That and like Seventh Heaven. Have you seen the old Seventh Heaven clip
No.
throwbacks? Oh my God. People are rewatch Seventh Heaven on TikTok, and they're just like, can you believe like we watched this on television? Like the way they were like there's like one scene where like the kid drinks coffee and then he becomes like addicted to coffee, and he's like, oh my God, I'm addicted to coffee.
I love the cheesy
because remember
stuff.
caffeine was bad, and then the mom smokes pot, and it's like the worst
Bad.
thing ever because it's a gateway drug. Like it's just so
Get zooted.
cringe and so like over the top. But like that's what we watched. We
Well.
loved wholesome Christian television.
Wholesome Christian television is now replaced with wholesome Christian chicken, Chick-fil-A. Well,
Chick-fil-A.
in our last little bit of the episode before we sign off for today, we have some other news to go back to what's going on right now, which was a little shocking to hear, I guess, like, but also we've covered before, so you had to remind me of that. Jessica Simpson and Eric Johnson announced their separation, and when I was told this from you, I saw it on a couple different links, but I had sat there first going back to what we covered in the initial parts of the episode was, did their house get burned down? Because I know a couple people who, unfortunately, it's very sad to say, when you have lost everything, if you want to part separate ways, like people are going separate ways who have been affected or
Yeah.
like trying to start anew. But this came up for our news, and we talked about this before. But
Yeah.
they didn't have any.
Well, before there was speculation of like whether or not they were still together or were they separated, she was posting a lot of thirst traps on Instagram, and people were like, "Oh, she's acting single." So there were rumors that they had split up, and then now they have just confirmed that they are separating. Eric Johnson and Jessica Simpson. They have, or she owns a home here in Los Angeles, but their joint home together is in Nashville. So I think they spend most of their time in Nashville, but they also have a place here in LA. I don't believe her house burned down in the fires, though.
Crazy times we live in. I can't imagine like your whole city going through things and you're like, you know what? My whole life as I know it around me also, I'm going through divorce.
Yeah.
As a last little bit of, let's call it brain rot, escape, whatever you need, guilty pleasure, we've had some photos,
This one's juicy.
just like the burger from In-N-Out that they were probably horking down. Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster were caught making out at the restaurant establishment known as In-N-Out.
It's so wild.
Weird.
It's so weird. It now feels like he is gay and he's really trying to show us that he's not. And like they're forcing this like Hugh Jackman, Sutton Foster, relationship down our throats so hard. We see them, so they're in the drive-thru, going to In-N-Out, and literally making out while in line at the drive-thru, and paparazzi are catching them, and so you can watch the videos of them making out there. And then there are other photos of them in a parking lot together where he's like, it's unclear if he's saying hi, like he's just seen her or he's saying goodbye to her, but they're outside of the car and they're also kissing and making out there as well. So they just seem to be very much about the PDA.
The thing is, like, when you have these incidents, don't you call the paparazzi? Like,
Yeah.
someone calls them, and like, you can you can be out of the press, and like, I don't know what this is for. I'm just confused. I'm also like, why are we as paparazzi going to In-N-Out when our city is in whatever In-N-Out this was? Makes me think it's Los Angeles or outer LA, but like,
It was in the San Fernando Valley. So like it's somewhere in the valley. It didn't say
somewhere.
which location specifically, but
But I mean,
it's somewhere.
I won't say no to a Hugh Jackman makeout coming across my desk.
It was just
It's just
random.
weird. No.
Yeah, it's just very random.
Grab your girls, grab your florals. We're going to In-N-Out.
We're going
Oh, what was also our last bit of actual bit of news? Like, aside from everything going on right now, one last story to keep on the nature of this podcast is a new update on It Ends With Us.
Yep. So it appears Justin...
Which, sorry to interrupt. I started watching and I couldn't get into it. I really tried watching during this downtime at home. I couldn't get into it.
I'm sure you would like Justin Baldoni's edit better.
Okay.
But Justin Baldoni has sent a demand letter to Disney and Marvel, saying that they have every intent on subpoenaing the footage and I guess whatever documents they have that are relevant to the Deadpool and Wolverine film, because there's a scene that's now or a series of scenes that are being pulled into question regarding this parody character called Nice Pool.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's Deadpool and then there's Nice Pool that I believe is from some sort of alternate universe in this Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And so Nice Pool is believed to be a parody of Justin Baldoni.
Mm-hmm.
So Nice Pool comes onto the screen, has a man bun on, which we know Justin Baldoni had a man bun. He was growing his hair out. He has since chopped off his hair because he donated it. But so this character has a man bun, similar to Baldoni. He also self-identifies as a feminist. So specifically, I'll walk you through the scene. So he comes out and he's talking to Deadpool, or he's talking to Wolverine.
Guide me through it.
And he comes out and makes a comment. He's like, "Have you seen Lady Pool?" And he's like, "Lady Pool just had a baby, and her body, you should see her body. She just bounced back," which many people are thinking is referencing. So you have the man bun, and then the body comments, which people think are in reference to body shaming Blake Lively, who just had a baby, who didn't lose her weight fast enough, according to Baldoni, who allegedly fat shamed her on the set of This Is It Ends With Us. And so then Wolverine responds, and he's just like, "I don't think we're allowed to say that." And he's just like, "It's okay. I'm a feminist." which Justin Baldoni also identifies as a feminist. And then he makes a nod to having a podcast that, capitalizes off of women empowerment, very similar to Justin Baldoni's podcast, which is called Man Enough, which seeks to end toxic masculinity. And then furthermore, there's another scene where Nice Pool calls out for the intimacy coordinator. He's like, "Where's the intimacy coordinator?" Which also in reference to the lack of intimacy coordinator,
too much
which Blake Lively alleges in her lawsuit from The Set of It Ends With Us. And then, to put a bow on it, Blake Lively's character ends up taking out Nice Pool and killing him in front of a flower shop. And obviously, anybody that knows It Ends With Us, it centers around a flower shop.
That flower shop they put together looked real nice for no budget. I'm just going to say that.
Right?
Yeah. But that's too similar. That I don't know what, if happened. Those correlations are just too similar.
They're way too similar. And so it brings into the question if these allegations of harassment were truly as emotionally distressing as she's claiming, and they were truly traumatizing, because she claims that this traumatized her and her family,
then why are we bringing it up?
Why would you make fun of it in the Deadpool movie?
Well, that's a good note to land on today. Thank you for coming to my therapist session.
Yeah.
I know we talked about a lot of things. If you need any resources for the fire, we have attached them into the YouTube comments description section of this video. If you are listening anywhere else and you're looking for more resources, you can reach out to us and definitely donate where you can. I even donated even when I was at home, like any little bit helps to anyone. People are really just looking for money and help to go spend that money and help rebuild. Whether they're going to rebuild their home, we don't know. Whatever helps just right now for anybody. But stay safe. Zach, anything with
subscribe.
You? I wasn't trying to get you to say that, but
Stay
anything
safe.
You have to say? I feel like I sound like a broken record a little bit.
Listen, life is short and people have lost everything. And I think we have to remember, especially coming after the holiday season, which has become very gluttonous and very much about material items, you can see that you can lose everything. In a matter of 10 minutes, people had to evacuate, get out of their houses, and never be able to come back to them. So appreciate what you have. Appreciate the loved ones that you have around you. And if there's anything that you can do to help the people of LA, the people of Asheville, the people of Maui, then, definitely pledge your support and, let's try to do something good in this new year. And subscribe.
And we'll see you all soon.
Bye.